Hello and welcome back to another video in the world of Monster Hunter. Today is all about the Devilphole, or Devil Joe. See what I did there? I thought it was quite clever. Anyway, this video was requested by Royal over at twitch.tv. That's so Royal. He's quite new to the whole Monster Hunter series, but he is learning very well, and I'm hoping this just gets him a little bit more attention. So please do click on the link in the description below. He is streaming every day. He is giving it a bloody good effort. He is a pretty nice guy as well, particularly as well if you are in and around Europe, because he'll be in your time zone, so you can watch him whenever you please. Now, he has actually inquired about insect glaives, and I will be doing sort of poverty build videos eventually, but I just kind of want to demonstrate just what an insect glaive can do at the far end of the game. And before we get into the build, I wish to state what I've always told people about the insect glaive, is that it is a catch-22 weapon. And what I mean by this is, in Monster Hunter 4U, the insect glaive was absolutely overpowered. It had the attack speed of dual blades if you got the buffs, and it did the damage of a greatsword near enough. It was absolutely insane. This, of course, was very quickly nerfed. Now, the way in which it has been nerfed is, one, by changing its multiplier, as well as the overall damage it can do in the first place. That's been severely decreased. But secondly, while you're airborne, you deal severely decreased damage. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but I do occasionally do a little bit of jumping around because it's kind of the insect glaive's gimmick. I like it, I can't help it. So essentially what you're really wanting to do is try and stay on the ground as much as possible. Only really use aerial insect glaive as a means of escape, or if you are desperate to try and get that mount because you're getting your head kicked in. But honestly, the majority of the time you do want to stay on the ground. Anyway, on to the build. So moving into the skills and equipment, I'm going to be using the Devil Joe insect glaive, mainly because for about 70% of the game this is basically all you really need. You can use the Diablos insect glaive, which does have a bit higher in raw, and then that can be capitalized even more by putting the Elementalist charm in. Anyway, Grunge Storm, I have a health and affinity augment. Nergigante Alpha with an expert decoration, and then basically we have 4-piece Draken, because we all know why by this point. Behemoth's Master's Touch, along with the fact that it's overpowered to share life, and in total we have 3 Tenderizer decorations in there, a critical decoration and a mighty decoration. Now this will put you at 100% affinity, but again, mighty, this is maximum might. The moment you jump up in the air, you're going to be losing a good deal of your affinity chance, and of course you're also going to be dropping your damage, so you really will be wanting to stay on the ground for as much as possible, although it is worth it because this build hits really hard. Now, as always with every build, there are meta and there is everything else. This is actually straight out of the meta guidebook. It's actually really kind of hard to beat. I've tried messing around with a few things, and yeah, it's surprisingly really good. I've tried supplementing a few things with Kaiser, and although you can either get the raw but you don't get the affinity, or you get the affinity and you don't get the raw, so it's kind of hard to figure out exactly where you could tweak this to make it better or more survivable. To be perfectly honest, overall this build is actually just really good. It works really well. It's quite survivable, particularly when you have a health augment. On the first fight I actually forgot to put the health augment in because I used it from a previous build, so I've had to augment this for this video, which yay. But when you have the health augment, it's really good due to the attack speed. You hit pretty darn hard and pretty consistently. So the health regen is really nice. When you get the buffs, you get, and the I forgot one of the three, the Kinsect Nectar buffs, the red, orange and white. These all give an increase by percentage per buff you have when they connect up. So if you get a red and an orange, they don't connect up, but the moment you get a red and a white or an orange and a white, they start connecting up, and it really does actually then make a difference, particularly with the ferocity in which you are able to attack. It is a really potent weapon with how it currently works in the game. Personally, for me, it's just really annoying, the simple fact that the Internet Glaive is basically designed to be an aerial weapon. It's sort of like its gimmick, but by doing so, you're shooting yourself in the foot because you do a lot less damage. Ground Glaive is best glaive, quite literally. Now, to get these buffs, it is quite simple. Typically, you get the white buffs from a monster's legs or wings. You can get the red glaive typically from the monster's head or like claws if they have them. Orange is generally acquired from the monster's body, and you can also get a green buff which gives you some health return, which is generally acquired from the monster's tail. Now what the white buff does is it increases your speed for 90 seconds. The red buff increases your attack and as well adds a few extra animations or combos, and the orange increases your defense and applies knockback resistance for about 45 seconds. From here, you are then able to stack them. If you get a red and white, you get another 10% damage increase, and these buffs will both last for 90 seconds. If you get a white and an orange, you get another 10% defense increase, and these will both last for 90 seconds. And then if you get a red, white and orange, you get 15% attack, 10% defense, and you also get flinch free for 90 seconds, which is really handy. The problem with this then is the moment you lose these buffs, you become severely weakened. So it is kind of paramount that you keep these buffs up at all time, and as near as I can tell, constantly resupplying yourself with buffs while you have buffs active doesn't seem to increase the duration or reset the duration. You literally just need to wait for the buff to end and then you rebuff yourself, which for some monsters is really easy, for others it's quite irritating. I've always found particularly that things like Odigaran are quite hard to do it with, simply because of how quick they move. You line up your shot, you go and fire your Kinsect, and next thing you know it's buggered off, because yay, it's fun like that. Anyway, that is me. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you guys pretty darn soon. Good luck, have fun, and don't die. It's bad for the health.